I'm going to today share a couple of stories from my journey with ThroatScope. Before I start, I do want to get out of the way. I was a financial accountant for local government, turned stay-at-home mum of 4 children. I had no medical experience. I had no design or development experience. I had no experience in bringing a product to life, no experience except for my accounting background in business, and I had $150,000 savings in the bank that my husband and I decided to risk on this business. That's just a little bit about it, but what I want to say is innovation comes from anywhere, anytime, from anyone. So, how did it start for me? Well, it was an idea. I took my 15-month-old baby to the doctors, my very first child. He seemed to be suffering from a sore throat, so the doctor got out his wooden tongue depressor in one hand and his handheld torch in the other. He then asked me to put one hand around the top of his head, one hand around his arms, restrain your child whilst I pry his mouth open with the wooden tongue depressor. What? I couldn't believe it. It was that moment that I looked around the doctor's office and said, are you kidding? Look at all the technology we have here today, and you're telling me that you've been using a wooden tongue depressor for over 1,000 years. So that was my moment. I walked out of the doctor's office and I used Google and I researched. I realised there was 8 patents in existence, all based on a fibre optic cable running through the blade to get the light outside and inside the mouth. It was 20 years old. So I designed my very first prototype. At home, it was a LED torch taped to a piece of plastic. I realised the technology worked. As simple as light bouncing through plastic. Now, I had no design experience, so Google taught me everything I needed to know about electrical engineering, about putting together PCBs, different batteries, using regulator chips to make sure that the actual flow of light was going to be consistent. I had no experience, didn't know anything about plastics. I Googled it. Google was my best friend. From there, it took me 4 years in researching design development. I actually had 3 more children. But my passion and my drive and my determination was made in 2014 when my 4th child, in this picture, Isabella, had her very first reaction at 8 months old. She was anaphylactic to peanut butter. It was that moment my daughter was rushed into the emergency room and I watched on while 2 nurses held her down and a doctor got out a wooden tongue depressor and pried open her mouth with it. I knew at that stage I had to do whatever it took to get this into hospitals, doctors' clinics, and homes all over the world. And that's what I have achieved today. It was actually at that point that I had run out of money. So I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know what. There's not a lot of help, or there wasn't at this stage in Australia for anyone. I had 2 failed potential investors. I had a huge global deal, partnership deal that fell over, and I had no money. So all I could do from there was go up. And I decided, my husband and I were sitting there one night and I saw calling all innovators for a new television show coming soon. Challenge accepted. So I put in my application and I was one of the lucky ones to get a spot on Shark Tank Australia. Still to this day, it is my most favourite opportunity, with ThroatScope. It took a long time in preparation. I watched 108 episodes of the US Shark Tank. Okay, I knew every single question that they were going to ask me. It was 3 months of full-time preparation, and I had 4 kids, one of which I was still breastfeeding. So I knew I had to be well prepared. I knew that numbers were really important walking into the tank. So I learnt everything. I was pre-sales. I had 2 commercial prototypes to show. And I was just hoping that someone would pick me up. I spent 2 hours in that tank for 12 minutes that they showed on television. I can tell you all behind the scenes, they do not interfere with you at all. It is like you are pitching to 5 outstanding entrepreneurs in front of you and not one person interferes. They don't even give you a drink of water. I couldn't even talk by the end of it. It was a very, very serious business-like opportunity, and it is not, behind the scenes, they're not getting told what to say and we're not getting told what to say. So I walked away with Steve Baxter, and I was very lucky. I can say that I knew strategically that in the tank, if I got a deal, I should say yes, no matter what it was, because I knew that my chances of getting on television were greatly increased. I knew all my strategies, so I knew what I would say if I got a certain deal. I knew how I would counteroffer. I knew, every single scenario I'd been through. With Steve, he actually got, I think it was $76,000 for 30%. After the tank, you do have an opportunity under a due diligence to change that deal, and I did. I ended up getting Steve at $1 million valuation for a 2% stake in my company. So not everything is as the media reports, but at the end of the day and after the tank, Shark Tank was the opportunity that gave me the credibility. Instead of those doors closing, they started to open. And Steve gave me this confidence in myself and in the product to continue getting those doors to open. From there, we actually, launched onto the market in October 2015 and launched into some of the hospitals here in Australia. We're now in 150 countries around the world. We're in healthcare and in home use. We are launching into 5,000 CVS stores in the US come August this year. We have done different deals and in donating to, for aid work over in different countries. We have, we're working on different types of innovation. But along my journey, I think one of the most important things I've realised is persistence is the key. Even to this day, I still get told no, and I go, okay, challenge accepted. I'll change your mind. And I do it constantly. And I can tell you, one of the, when we first launched onto the market, not many pharmacies in Australia believed this was a home use product. I'm like, you know what? I have 4 children. It is a home use product. From getting Play-Doh out of teeth or, simply saying to my children, when they turn around and say, I don't want to eat dinner tonight, Mum, because I have a sore throat. Well, no, you don't. Let me take a look. It's that simple. At that moment, I said to them, I am your target market. I'm the one that goes into the shop. I have 4 children. So, they said no to me. They said, no, it won't work in pharmacy. I said, right, challenge accepted. So I went out and I proved them wrong, basically. I got a lot of mums on side after that. But I noticed 6 weeks later on LinkedIn that the CEO changed positions and there was a new CEO appointed into this pharmacy chain in Australia. So I rang him. I linked in with him, got his phone number and rang him. And he said, you know what? I have an 18-month-old. And that 18-month-old puts everything in his mouth. I get it. And all of a sudden, 7 days later, in record time, we did a deal with that pharmacy chain and we rolled out across in Australia in the homes and onto the shelves for retail. I think that was the moment that I really realised that, it can take one person to stop you in a company. It can take one person to stop you from going somewhere, but it doesn't stop you from trying every other way around to get there. Another thing that happened actually last year was we were due to roll out in the 5,000 stores in CVS US. We were delayed and now we're rolling out this year. We were delayed because of a manufacturing issue with it and of our product. That was a big hit. 50,000 units came in that were incorrectly, had the wrong LEDs put into them. Heartbreaking decision I made, not to send the product out there to ruin the brand. But I can tell you to this day, I maintained the relationship with our pharmacy chain in the US. I was transparent with that company in the US. And out of that, they actually increased their order for this year and doubled the size of the stores that we were going into. It's so important to be transparent with your partners. And that's why I always say, today's no is tomorrow's yes. Because you just don't know what's going to happen. Just maintain your relationships with everyone you've got. Know that anyone that you talk to is a connection. Everything that you have at your fingertips is something that you can work. Every opportunity is an opportunity for your success. I've had a lot of different no's and I've had a lot of amazing yeses. One that we're working on at the moment is we're rolling out a brand new Check Your Mouth campaign across the US with the US Oral Cancer Foundation. I don't know if anyone here knows Gwyneth Paltrow, but her father died of oral cancer. I had the US Oral Cancer Foundation call me and say, he's a founder of the US Oral Cancer Foundation, Brian Hill, and he's actually a stage 5 oral cancer survivor. He rang me and he said, the one thing we've been missing is a product inside the mouth to show people the visual signs of oral cancer. Everyone here knows to check a mole. If it changed colour or shape, what do you do? Do you go to a doctor? Yeah. Find a lump in your breast, what do you do? So what about something that's been in your mouth longer than 2 weeks? Does anyone know what to do? You go to see a doctor. You go to see a dentist. It's that simple. The Oral Cancer Foundation recognised Throatscope as the one tool that was missing in the early diagnosis or early discovery of oral cancer. We are now rolling out a worldwide campaign with the US Oral Cancer Foundation and the Bruce Paltrow Foundation. We want everyone across the world to understand the importance of checking your mouth at home. Anything, red, white or black, that's been in your mouth longer than 2 weeks, go and get it checked. So, we have a lot of different things happening, and from here we won a 2017 Thomas Edison Award. We're in 150 countries around the world. Since then, I've realised my passion for innovation, and I haven't stopped at just Throatscope. So we have new attachments coming out for our product. We're also going into the telehealth space. So I've got a brand new app that we're in testing at the moment. So we will be the very first to look at oral cavity examination and bring it to the telehealth market. We're partnering with Telstra Redicare to bring this onto the market. They are actually an online consultation GP consultation service, which is only just new in Australia. We are, just on the forefront of sort of new innovation and going to the digital world, and that's very important, is growing your business, keeping ahead of the game, and having being in front of the innovation side of it. Yeah. So that's basically my story, and very quickly. I always say believe, act, persist. And for me, it's always been about, believe in yourself, believe in your ability to achieve it. Act on it. If you have an idea, act on it. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to have the passion you have for your business. No one can pitch, excite, and ignite people about your business or your idea. It's you and you alone. And persist, no matter what you do. You are going to get thousands of no's before you get that one yes. 99% of people give up only one step away from success. Thank you. Oh, actually, I did have one question. Can anyone tell me how big the wooden tongue depressor market is worldwide? If you do, I'm actually got a coloured lightsaber to give away. So you can choose from either green or blue. So the closest person to tell me how many wooden tongue depressors are sold worldwide.
2 billion.
Higher.
50 billion.
Lower.
8.2 billion.
Close. 10 billion.